Welcome back. Well, we'd love to hear from you on our Facebook and on our Twitter. Today we are talking about electoral reforms. And how much do you really know? Or has this just become another buzzword for the opposition? In the studio we have with us Mr. Olara Otunnu. You know him as the president of UPC, but more than anything as a commentator and on political issues, and at the forefront of himself and the opposition is the call for free and fair elections. So before the break, you had asked a question.
Yes.
If you could kindly ask it again.
Yes. Before we went to the break, Mr. Olara Otunnu, you met the IGP, the Inspector General of Police, General. We're insisting titles this morning, General Kale Kaihura. And we want to know, in speaking to him, one, did he agree with with the conditions you set? And two, did you see an IGP that in body language and all that appears to be apologetic for the events that took place in Mbali and elsewhere?
Well, let me
first the conditions, then the demeanor and body language. Yeah.
In terms of the commitments we insisted on, the Minister and Inspector General of Police accepted and they made those commitments, which is to say that one, they would endeavor to have the police perform their public law and order duty without being partisan and aligned with the regime or with the NRM. And two, that in terms of communicating, we'll continue communicating the way I described earlier, which is to say, at the national level, I would inform the Minister and Inspector General of Police on behalf of our group. At the local level, our coordinating team would inform the district police commander, giving information about venue, about time, and the kind of meeting. And three, that the police leadership would put a stop to the violence, the completely wanton violence which was unleashed on us and on peaceful citizens in Mbale, Soroti, Kabale, and Kasese. And four, that the police would not interfere henceforth with our campaign program around the country. So these were the commitments which were made by the Minister and the Inspector General of Police. Now, on the what the Inspector General...
Yeah, did they
actually,
appear?
we were astonished. We were astonished by what Inspector General Kaihura said. Because he said in so many words, we did not block any meeting, we did not stop any radio show. We were completely astonished. In Soroti, he said the police officer was stoned by the citizens. General Muntu and I were there from the beginning and end of the episode. No such thing took place. So we're astonished by what the Inspector General said because they were absolutely untrue. And we insisted and gave him information. In the end, he agreed to conduct investigations about what happened in Sorot, in the 4 towns, and to report to us. On our part, we shall insist on complete accountability with regard to the violence and the wanton humiliation committed in Mbale, in Soroti, in Kabale, and Kasese.
You know, Mr. Otunnu, I hate to think that the conversation that we're having on the couch is an indictment to the police. What I'd like to focus on is, you know, going through these towns of Mbale, going through the towns of Kasese, Kabale, you meet people who are not necessarily Kampala people. These are people who are upcountry, largely a rural population. Do you think they understand that right now, maybe the electoral process is not free or fair?
What is so striking across the country, the Ugandans are yearning for genuinely free and fair elections. They are saying amen to the call that we are making. They are enthusiastic to see us working together on a non-partisan basis for the sake of Uganda, not for the sake of UPC or FDC or DP, but for the sake of Uganda, all Ugandans, wherever we have been. There's been absolute enthusiasm. We just returned from a loop in the north. Same response as in the west, as here in the central, as in the east. Let me say, by the way, after the meeting a week ago with the Minister and Inspector General of Police, we then said the real taste of the pudding is in the eating.
Yes.
So we are going to continue with our program and see if they, for their part, honor the commitments they made. So we went to Arua last Friday.
How was it?
On Saturday, we were in Nebi, and the afternoon in Gulu. Sunday, we were in Lera. Monday, we were in Kidgum. Well, I'm pleased to say that on the northern loop, the police conducted themselves professionally. The commitments made to us by the Minister and Inspector General Police were observed. By and large, there was no police presence. And actually, when there's no police presence, things are more peaceful. Absolutely peaceful. It's ironic. When you couldn't see a single police on site, everything was peaceful.
Public order.
People were in a joyous mood.
That's an interesting conclusion.
A joyous mood. Now, in Kidgum, there was some police, the police commander was actually there, and the police, some police officers, but they were there doing their professional work of public law and order, of regulating, not prohibiting, not stopping, regulating and prohibiting. Regulating is to ensure that everybody is peaceful. That two groups which may disagree with each other are not clashing on the same ground. That you don't impose yourself on venue X when somebody else has booked that venue. That is regulating. It's very different from saying you can't have a meeting because we have orders from above. So you can't march because we have orders from above. Very different.
So Mr. Olara Otunnu, as it is now, can we logically conclude that when the Inspector General of Police, General Kaihura, gets to know that his officers have been unfortunately clamping down on the opposition, and you inform him, can we now logically conclude that he does his job well as long as he knows that things have fallen out of line? Can we conclude that way?
First of all, the orders to clamp down, to unleash violence in Bale, Soroti, Kabale, and Kasese came on the basis of orders from above, meaning there are only three.
We have proof.
Yes,
proof
absolutely.
of that.
There are only three generals who are responsible for orders from above. General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni as president, General Aronda as Minister of Internal Affairs, and General Kaihura as Inspector General. These are the three generals of orders from above. So General Kaihura knew he gave the orders for what was done to us and the citizens in Soroti and the other towns. What I'm saying now, which we welcome, is the fact that when we went and read the Riot Act to the Minister and to Inspector General Police, they pulled back, and at least in Arua, in Gulu, in Nebi, Lera, and Kidgum, the police behaved themselves.
Okay, so
and we appreciate that.
Sophie, there's something I want to clear
we've
here.
run out of time. It's so unfortunate. The only thing that I really wanted you to speak about is, you know, oftentimes in Uganda's history, we feel like history repeats itself. Back in the 1970s, we had the religious leader, Janani Luwum, and as an Acholi elder, you made a special visit to his ancestral home. If you can, under 1 minute, just tell us the impact of that visit.
Well, actually, nothing to do. I happen to be ethnically Acholi, but it's nothing to do with that, really. We left our political work, the political campaign, free and fair elections. We took that gap and left it in Kidgum town. And we took time off Monday morning to go on a pilgrimage to the resting place of St. Janani Luwum, who many of you may recall was the Archbishop, the Anglican Archbishop of Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and Eastern Congo. He was martyred in 1977, February 16, 1977, by Idi Amin. He was a preeminent world leader, as well as a Christian leader, and of course one of the very few Christian martyrs of the 20th century. He's a saint. The sainthood was proclaimed by the Church of England soon after his martyrdom. It's very sad that in Uganda today, when you move around Kampala or elsewhere and ask people about Janani Luwum, there are very, very few who will tell you who he is, what he did, why he's so important and worthy of celebration. Outside Uganda, he's a figure of great affection and devotion, celebrated in the UK, in Europe, in the US, in Southern Africa, in Canada. But I was very shocked coming back to my country of birth, his country of birth, the place where he provided leadership, that is all but forgotten. So anyhow, we took time off to go and pay and have a pilgrimage and pay our respects at the graveside, the resting place of this giant of a leader, Christian leader, and a leader of the world, a real incredible role model. I wish I had time to say a little bit more about this incredible man who is St. John Aniluwom. So it was a wonderful and very moving and very humbling to have taken time off from politics to do that. We went with General Muntu, with Dr. Kizza Besigye, with Honorable Norbert Mao, myself, and others. We went there together.
Well, Mr. Otunnu, thank you so much. Leading by example. We appreciate you coming on the couch. Thank you so very much. All right,
Thank you.
We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, Daniel O'Mara with Business Unusual.
This is Urban TV.